Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for passing by, thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you very much for watching my videos. You are greatly appreciated. I'm feeling a little bit better even though I'm speaking in my nostrils just the same, a little bit stuffy, but I am feeling much better than I was many days ago. Now, I'm going to have a little fun with the knowledge. Today is a little bit of a history class and stuff like that. And because from the topic you can see, or from the caption you can see that I'm going into bureaucracy and speaking on bureaucracy, the inception of it and what bureaucracy is all about. It seems to me that a lot of persons, especially in the Jamaican space, does not really know what bureaucracy is or what it's all about. They believe it's an economic term. They believe that it's just a business term that they should have nothing to do with because they're not transacting business, or it has nothing to do with them. It's just for economists or for people who have registered business and all of that. You understand me? But to define what bureaucracy is and what it's all about, and aside from the Google, I'm just going to give you in layman terms so it makes it a lot more easier for you. It's really a channel or a procedure that is implemented by the government in order to get things done. Basically, things done. So it's a channel or procedure that is implemented by the government or state in order to get things done. So there are certain procedures that you have to follow and stuff like that, certain guidelines, and that's under bureaucracy. Now we're going to speak on where bureaucracy also came from and what it's all about. People, it is as deep as it gets. But for persons who maybe, I should say, too religious, it's probably not for you. There's something called the harsh truth. We came here via our ancestors in the Western world through slavery and entrapment. And we are here living, we are here fighting just the same for total independence, for total autonomy, to be independent as a state, as a group of people, as a nation of people. It's not so easy when you do not have material power, you do not have machine power or enough manpower. And because of such, you know, you really have to do a lot of trading, especially our government have to do a lot of trading with countries that, you know, you might not want to, because the trade and terms of agreement is said to benefit them. And because of such, we are here and we are dilly-dallying and we have to do what we have to do to get by. Okay, so if you're too religious, it's really not for you. Okay, now I'm going way back, way back. And I'm talking way back into the 15th century. Now, there was a philosopher, I think he was Swiss, by the name of Paracelsus. Well, that's his name. I think his right name is Theophrastus, but they call him Paracelsus. This was a person who, he was a master of his studies. And, you know, at the time, he was incorporating modern medicine. As they say, he's the father of toxicology. So he basically invented modern medicine and he incorporated spiritualism in it in order to help people, in order to fix people. So for persons who may have been smitten by an extraterrestrial being, what religious people call, say, a demon or an evil spirit, he was known to mix spirituality with his medicine in order to, you know, relieve a person or to expel any form of external force that may be, you know, gotten into them for them to behave or act unnatural, especially when it came on to madness. And that was the workings of Paracelsus. The Rosicrucians, who came down later in the 17th century, they began, you know, studying his workings and they applied it to them. For those who don't know who Rosicrucians are, these are persons who build culture with religious or culture with medicine and stuff like that, and they get their ideals from Paracelsus himself. So in the 15th century, right, there were a group of people that they call stone builders. These were people that they say had to develop Europe in and of itself. So they were stone builders and they had an organization. They formed like a committee or a body. And you know, with certain symbols that they made, you could tell if what level of stone building that they were, and if they were qualified. And so what they did was form the organization and they gave their signals and stuff like that. And so it would have made you understand, without that person identifying himself, what level he's really at. Not only that, they secure contracts or deals for themselves within that organization. Now with the Protestant era coming out, the Protestant Reformation that is coming out in the 15th century when they were doing away people. At the time, the church in and of itself, I'm getting to bureaucracy, don't worry. At the time, the church in and of itself was doing away with the masonry, which is what they call stone builders. The church was doing away with it, and they did not want to have it. The monarchy agreed to it, and so they were a group of Protestants from the Reformation era. And so they did not like that, and because they didn't like that, they came out and they were against it. Now, going over into Spain, there was a man by the name of Ignatius Loyola. Ignatius Loyola was a knightsman, and he was like a protector of the Pope. He wanted to protect the Pope. He studied canon law. He was all about that, protecting the Pope. He formed an organization in and of itself, and the name that he called it, the Pope did not approve of it, and so he changed it to the Society of Jesus. So he was a Jesuit, right? And upon being a Jesuit, he decided that he's going to protect the Pope and all of those type of things. In understanding Ignatius Loyola, and you listen to our read, for those who haven't listened the audiobook, or you have read on Ignatius Loyola, you would understand that he was deep in the occultism. A lot of the ideas that he came forward, or he put forward for people during that time, he came under deep dark realm, you understand me, of spirituality. So that was what Ignatius Loyola was all about. Coming down with the Protestant era, they were a group of people, like I said, they were against the church. They were also against the monarchy because they believed that they were trampling on their rights and freedom as individuals to be who they want to be in their purest form and natural form. So they did not really want to have anything to do with the church. They did not want to have anything to do with monarchy and stuff like that. And so in the 15th century, I think it's 1570 something, the Mother Lodge, was formed in England. The Mother Lodge was formed, and the Mother Lodge was, a group of masonry and stuff like that. Coming down from that, there was the Grand Orient, and there was a Grand Orient. The Grand Orient was actually in France. It came out in France, and these people were the deepest type of anti-religious, anti-Christian, anti-Christ individual. They delved deep into occultism, and they were in positions of power. These were philosophers, lawyers, doctors. These people were, great affluent people in society, and they were basically against the church. They were against the monarchy, as we said. And if you want to come down after that, which is the Grand Orient, was also in the early 1700s, I should say. That section, or that chapter, was in France. And then the Mother Lodge, like I said, of the 15th century, 1570s, that was the first one that started out, and that was in England. You understand? Coming down after the Grand Orient, now we have an individual by the name of Adam Weishaupt. Some people call him Adam Weishaupt or Weishaupt. I call him Adam Weishaupt. He was from Ingolstadt, Germany. And he was a philosopher also. He studied Ignatius Loyola. He studied the canon law also. And this person, he came up with the philosophies and the ideologies of being against the church, being against monarchy, and also against family. Adam believed that man in its truest form is actually a pagan. They should worship whatever it is. They should do whatever it is. Defecate anywhere. Go and grab herb from the field and do whatever it is that they want to do. Worship any deity. Conjure up any form of spirit. Tap into any spiritual realm. And that was the ideologies of Adam Weishaupt. And like I said, he studied canon law and he did all of this. I think he was also studying Paracelsus, if I'm not sure. But there's a small mention of Paracelsus during my study and research on Adam, but that was basically what he was about. This guy was against the church, he was against monarchy, and he was also against family. And one great definition, or one great example, is the French Revolution. And we all know what took place in the French Revolution. I need not to get into the microcosm of it. Now, on May the 1st, I think it's 1786, that's when the Illuminati was formed, and it was spearheaded, and the founder of it is Adam Weishaupt. So that's where the Illuminati came from, in Bavaria, Germany. No, there were certain things that Adam Weishaupt believed in, and upon his belief system, he also understood, according to his ideals, he believes strongly that the world moves within a certain type of cycle. And if you can capture any one of those cycles, you can become basically a deity. You can become a god. You can be worshipped. Okay. And I was going to say something else, but not that. All right. And so for one of them was chaos. The other was discord. And the other one was confusion. And it's actually 5, but I'm just naming 3 right now. It was chaos, discord, and confusion. They all sound the same or have similar meaning, but they are not the same. You understand? They're not the same. They're just similar in meaning. So it was chaos, it was discord, and then it was confusion. And then ding, 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 the buzzword that you're all waiting for, bureaucracy. And after bureaucracy, then comes the great aftermath. So these were the cycles that Adam Weishaupt believed the world functioned on. Chaos, discord, confusion, bureaucracy, and aftermath. So if you can channel all of these, you are basically a god. You'll be a ruler. You will be a commander of the entire world, and you will dictate what takes place, whether it be disease, whether it be medicines, whether it be inventions, all of these type of things. Once you control all 5 of them, basically you're good to go. So when he formed the Illuminati, it was centered around that. Adam Weishaupt also measured in Islamic mysticism and magic, and Islamic mysticism and magic came from an Islamic individual or Muslim individual by the name of Hassan Ishaba. And Hassan Ishaba was like what they call a hashish sheen. And a hashishim is a terminology for individuals of the Islamic jihadist then faith. And upon that, they believe that, you know, the hashish, which is raw THC from ganja or weed, give them the celestial feeling. And so upon understanding that and applying it, taking it, applying the mysticism around it, they will go into what you would call nirvana, what some people would call a higher self or higher being or paradise that they would go to. And so in pushing the fundamentals, they would threaten you. You accept Islam or you die. You're an infidel, or they'll execute you. And so Hassan was able to accomplish his mission by using force and also concoction. So down to Adam Weishaupt now, this is of 17 in the 18th century. Adam Weishaupt adopted Islamic mysticism and magic, drug induce of consciousness, and a lot of these type of things that he put together. It's like a cocktail that he put together in order to push his ideologies, and this is what he delved into. And upon delving into, I do apologize, guys. I was getting a call, and upon understanding these things, he gathered such fundamentals through Islamic mysticism, through drug induced to consciousness, higher consciousness. Also, he used the secrets of immortality, Masonic secrets of immortality. These are things that he put together. You understand me? These are things that he put together to understand himself and to put himself as a higher persona above others. So upon understanding that, that's when bureaucracy came in. Bureaucracy is one of the elements that I'm going to pull. Not chaos, not discord, not confusion, or the aftermath. Bureaucracy. Now, what would have happened in that time is when they want, you know, like when you're writing a book, right? In order, before you publish the book or so, you finish the book, right? So you complete the book. And if you have 5 different sections or 5 different series to the book, you complete all 5 series. And if you want to tweak something in it, then you can go ahead and do it, but you'll put it out because the end of the book is actually finished, right? And so what he did was, they want to put fundamentals in place. They want to put some things in place for the society to adhere to when it came to changes. And so upon putting that in place, what they did was just create a whole lot of problems for people. So let's say over a particular demographic of people are known to be violent. What you'll do is that if you want to impose, like you need a certificate in order to travel to that particular place, say it's within the same country, but you need a certificate or you need a letter in order to travel to that place. You understand me? What they would do is just send a whole lot of crime, you know, a whole lot of guns, a whole lot of drugs, a whole lot of prostitutes, a whole lot of, you know, just a whole lot of debauchery. And they put it over there. When they put it over there and people start complaining, you see the high crime rate, people dying and stuff like that. In came their solution, which would be getting a stamp, getting a letter. This is a bureaucracy that comes in. So getting a stamp, getting a letter, and that will prompt people to what? Adjust to it, because they want change. They want their crime rate to go down, right? And so they don't have a choice. They will take it because that's the only offer that is on the table for now. And this is what bureaucracy is all about. So you will have people like invent something. And when you invent something, for example, a sharpener, and you use a sharpener and it accidentally cuts a child or a student or anyone, it could be an adult, and the victim decide that they're going to sue the sharpener company and stuff like that, and for an exorbitant amount, they would actually let them win the court, because you remember, these are people in high places, so judges, attorneys, all these type of people, movers and shakers, are in the body, are in the organization. So what they will basically do is award the person the money that they need, and in come the law tomorrow to say that in order for you to get this, you need this license, you need this approval, you need this stamp by this person, approved by that person, and then it's going to cost you money, and it's also going to take time, because it leads to administrative work to make it seem as if it's busy or it's a lot of work to do. And so this is what bureaucracy is all about. So now you know the history of where bureaucracy come from. These people are actually Satanists, okay? They did not necessarily use the terminology. They did not necessarily use the terminology in a few of the centuries in between. But coming down, you later realize that these people were actually Satanists. They are against church, they are against family, and they are against monarchy, right? They do not want anything that has to do with order, has to do with peace and safety. They want to implement things when it is at their convenience. And they control global market, they control strategies, they control every single thing that is out there. So that's bureaucracy for you, and that's where bureaucracy came from. So now you understand, you can run with it. Now you know what bureaucracy is all about. I told you that I have a lot of these knowledge and information about these type of things, and I don't want it to be resting in my brain. So I just really realize that I can just speak clearly on a few things that I know throughout history, and I'll come and I'll bestow the information onto you guys, and just let you know that there are things out there that you might not be aware of, or might not understand the history behind it or what it's all about, but this is it. And it's just fun for me to bestow my little knowledge that I know onto the mass of the people. Somewhere down the line, a stranger will pass and will see the channel, and we just click on it and say, oh, that informative information out there, and they can grasp at it. And so yeah, you understand me? So I learned from a lot of persons. I love history while going to school. So it was just a part of me. English, history, then psychology, law, economics. These were things that I enjoyed when I was in school, and so because of that, I'm here now out in the world, and I feel sometimes like there isn't a place for me, and because of that, I'm kind of antisocial. I'm antisocial for now, based on what's happening around me. That's why I say I don't believe in introvert or extrovert. I just believe that giving time and space, and wherever a person is at that time, that's who they will be. And so I actually was denied employment at a particular establishment because of that. The person interviewing me was asking me if I was an introvert or an extrovert, and I said I do not believe in either. I believe that within time and space given, a person will excel, or a person will perform based on what is around them. You understand? And he disagreed. And it's almost like I had to agree with him. And I was very much offended, because I guess he was thinking that, it's a young female that came in, and, he must be right. And I think that's one of the issues that people are having, and people need to move away from that and grow. Sometimes it's always not you are right and the other person is wrong. Sometimes it's to be understood. You understand me? Because I can have, especially when it's an opinionated conversation, and not a conversation that is based on research. You understand me? If it's an opinionated conversation that is anecdotal, you don't need to be vying to be right, because you'll be merely injecting opinions in it. You understand me? But if it's a conversation that is based on research, data, statistics, things that are drawn up, you understand me? And let's say you're developing a hypothesis based on it. You understand me? It's okay. It's okay. one will be right and one would actually be wrong, because there's more argument to support yours. So one would be like a 70% and the other would be like a 30%. And that's life. You don't always have to be right, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong either. You can just not be as researched as the other individual. You understand me? So these are things that I, like I said, enjoy doing while I was a child, and it grew into me to love these type of things. But going up into the world, there's much persons that I meet that I can communicate with that are like that. And what I've seen happening is that I love persons who are bright, or persons who did very well while in school. Not me, persons who did very well while in school. We see them at certain settings that you'll be surprised that they're at, and it's like you're trying to fit in. It's like you don't know where you stand in society because you're this highly intellectual individual and you want to be down with everybody. You want to be a part of everything that's out there, the trendy things, the gully and the Gaza or the vendetta or whatever. You want to be a part of that so much, and it's okay in your spare time. But when you want to make that a part of your identity, then it becomes an issue, because if you're an intellectual, you should really be above certain situation and know that it's temporary, it's for a moment. And especially if crime and violence is behind it, you might want to not necessarily associate yourself with it. But I guess that everybody's trying to find their place in society. Everybody's trying to find their stamp, their identity. People do go through that phase. However, your phase can create a culture that is very detrimental and very disastrous. And that's what we are trying to stop. You understand me? And here lies me coming forward, and we'll let people know that, hey, people like me exist. You have girls out there that are very beautiful. You have girls out there that are very intelligent. You have girls out there that are very knowledgeable and stuff like that. And they want to meet like-minded people, or people that have very high self-esteem. Like for me, if I do not like people that are unattractive. I stay away from unattractive people a lot, because they have very low self-esteem, and people with very low self-esteem can also be very toxic. They tend to be very toxic. There are people who are very attractive also, and they're very toxic. They're very negative and stuff like that. Yes, and it does show. It does show on the outside. It's not something that can hide, because you come with an energy. And once you come, people are going to pick up on the energy that you're coming with. So that's another thing. You understand me? So it's also important for you to be your own self and be your own individual. You don't have to be like people. You don't have to be a part of the in crowd. I never said that you are supposed to be vulgar, loud, rude, disrespectful to people, and also basically disrespectful to yourself. That doesn't mean that if I'm being myself means that I have to be a nasty version of myself. No, you can seek to be a better version of yourself, a prettier version, a calmer version, a subtle version, a more masculine version if you're a man, and all of that. You can seek to be, you don't have to seek to be violent and, you know, all these type of things. And that's just who I am. So it is what it is. And, you know, we seek higher power that has to do with being a better version of yourself, a wholesome version of yourself. So that's what bureaucracy is all about, people. I hope that you learned something today, and I hope that you understand. And thank you so much for your time. May God bless you. Bye-bye.